What is up, Rock Podcast Nation? We are back with another burner. I'm telling you, Ryan.
Give him that
telling
burn.
you, man, I'm so happy to be back recording another episode of Rock Podcast Nation with your boy at Real Mike Bell and my co-host over here,
Ryan, our guest.
Guys, you are in for a burner today. You know, Ryan, we got this thing, guys. So, how many times during the former president's administration was everyone telling us, not my president, you know, all this other crap, right? When it came to, I mean, it was all you heard, right? It's not my, it was
Orange man, not my president.
Orange man, right? And it's like, all right, cool. We're past that. And here we are now. We are in months into the current administration's presidency. And one of the things, guys, at Right of Center, we have to hold the moral high ground. We have to, and this is kind of the title of the episode here, is we have to not be a hypocrite during the Biden term.
Don't be a hypocrite.
Don't be a hypocrite, right? And that goes for both of us. It goes for, it goes for all of us, not just the right of center, not left of center, but I'm talking dead nuts middle, far left, far right, everybody. I mean, you can't say one thing in November 1st, and then say another thing February 1st. You know what I'm saying? You got to be consistent. You cannot be a hypocrite. And Ryan, I am guilty, and I think even you are guilty of being a little hypocritical lately. And I just want to go ahead, guys, and put Mike Bell's hypocrisy out there. I've been called out. So my dad, he had to go drop his mower off the other day at Gardner Tractors right there in Hollywood. And he had to go drop his mower off, and I went and picked him up, and we were kind of bebopping around town a little bit. And
Bebopping.
We were bebopping. And he was telling me, he's like, we were talking about the podcast. You know, he's a fan. He's a rock follower supporting the show, as he should. Guys, if you're not already supporting the show, head over to rockpodcastnation.com and pledge your support there. It helps us get get the message of the Right of Center out. But he was telling me, he's like, Mike, he's like, you know, you're kind of hypocritical here. You know, he was talking about the $15 minimum wage thing. And it's like, you know, my point of all of it was, I don't want to subsidize the lower class, right? And it's not that I'm against welfare or I'm against unemployment or I'm against food stamps or against any of that shit. What I'm against is the large mega corporations employing their people at such a low rate that they are essentially forced to be on welfare. Now, that's old topic, right? We might revisit that in the future. And guys, if you want us to talk more about that, or you think that we left some meat on the bone, as Shore Billy likes to say, go ahead, meat on the bone. Go ahead and let us know. All right, drop down the comments in the episode over on the webpage or down on Facebook and let us know. But this is where my political alignment and my fiscal conservatism and a whole lot of other things kind of align, Ryan. Check this out. So, being a hypocrite. Ryan's a hypocrite. He told me he was going to pay attention during this episode, but all he's doing is looking at guns. Which reminds me,
I got my COVID cash in.
This episode is this episode and the past few episodes have been sponsored by ptpgun.com. That's Ryan's company. It is the bestest firearms instruction company in the Mid-Atlantic region and growing, guys.
That is word on the street.
If you haven't already, head over to ptpgun.com. You can find all you need to know there as far as HQL training, basic handgun, women's only, all kinds of stuff, guys. And while you're at it, you can get yourself one of these real cool hats. You guys on YouTube can see that. Those of you who can't, you will need to go over to the YouTube page or ptpgun.com, ptpgun.com, ptpgun.com.
What's that link again?
Guys, don't be a hypocrite, all right? And this is where it screws me up. You just heard Ryan talking about not being a hypocrite, but he's still looking at guns. I'm running the podcast. We thank you for supporting us.
At least Mikey does. I'm busy over here buying guns.
Yes, I thank you, guys. I thank you. But here's the thing, guys. How can I sit here and talk so much trash? How could Ryan sit here and talk so much trash? How can you, Rock Podcast Nation sit here and talk so much trash about the stimulus bill and the government expenditures and the waste and the nonsense and all this other shit. But I guarantee you're spending that $1,400 that COVID cash. You're not sending it back.
You only got $1,400?
What I'm saying is most people, each person gets $1,400. All right? Are you going to send that money back? And I'm not asking Ryan right now, Rock Nation. I'm asking you.
Well, we can ask me.
Well, I'm about to ask you, but right now, here's my thing. I'm gonna do a Ryan bit here, okay? Does Mike Bell really need the stimulus money? No. Will he keep it? Yes.
And he keeps it, and it's good,
guys. I have never missed a day of work since the COVID nonsense started. Right, my wife and I, we've both been able to work from home. Very fortunate in that we are deemed essential, which is a topic for another day, guys, because anytime that there's a good thing, there's a bad thing. Anytime there's somebody that's essential, there automatically is someone that's non-essential. And that's one of those terms that I'm surprised cancel culture hasn't gotten rid of yet. But I was essential. So was my wife. We were able to work. We were able to work through the entire lockdown. I'm fortunate enough to have a professional style job where most of my work is done on a computer or by phone, right? And it is a dynamic job. I do work my ass off, but I can do it from home. Now, the stimulus money, what a lot of people say is that money should have only been given to people that were, put out, people that needed the money. Does Mike Bell need the money? No. Is he going to keep the money?
Yep.
Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And again, guys, this week's episode is brought to you by ptpgun.com. And he also sponsors a soundboard. So with that, ain't gonna roll it. But guys, yeah, I'm telling you, man, the COVID stimulus check stuff, I don't really need the money, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it. And I'm not keeping it because I was put out, right? I'm not keeping it because, I lost my job and I need to make my rent or I got to pay my cell phone bill or whatever. I'm looking at it as what it is. It's a stimulus check. It's not, for me, it's not necessarily the relief portion because I don't need relief. I haven't been put out, Ryan.
You're just getting back what the government stole from you. They stole too much.
There's something to be said about that. But, I'm going to get my comeuppance. Everybody else is getting theirs. Why not me? And you'll see a whole, Ryan, you identified it in episode 1 that you are a right-leaning libertarian, right? And what most libertarians will tell you right now is don't take the money. If you're so far against it, if you're so right,
Who says this?
Libertarians. A lot of people do. Give the money back. You don't need it. All you're doing is putting the government further into debt.
Give the money back. They gave the money back to me. I'm going to get the money back that they gave back.
No, not your income tax. Your COVID cash. The money that you didn't need.
Where'd that cash come from? It didn't come out of the fucking air.
No, of course. And that's the argument that a lot of people make, right? Yeah. The only money the government can give is
what they told.
Is what they've already taken.
Or they printed off the printers that your tax dollars built.
Yeah, and that talks to something else, guys. And we'll get into it. This might be outside the realm of what needs to be covered on the show. But if you haven't already started looking at the interconnectivities between the GDP, the national debt, and the consumer price index, I encourage you to do so. There's a lot of money being printed there. But Ryan, why should I, let me do a question answer with you, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Should I feel bad about spending the $1,400 each that the government is going to give me?
No. I mean, why would you?
I'm asking you, should I feel bad?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. So there is no reason to feel bad, but people will like my dad was telling me, he's like, you can't say that you're against all this taxpayer dollar waste. You can't say that you're against, the government just funneling money here, funneling money there, and all this other shit. But then when they give it to you, you don't give it back. You go out and spend that shit.
It's all or none. Like if they said, hey, if you give this back, everybody else will take it back from them too. Fuck yeah, do it. But if I'm not going to let some other fucking person that may or may not have paid into the system, I'm not going to let them take advantage of my tax dollars, and I'm not going to take advantage of my tax dollars. You know what I'm saying? If it's, I don't want to have my cake and eat it too. I don't want you not to get your check, and I want him to get my check. If we're getting checks, we're getting checks. If we're not getting checks, we're not getting checks. I'm that ride or die guy. Let's fucking do it. You're either going to get money or we're not.
Right, but it needs to be equal across the board. And you know, there you could look at the bill kind of two ways, guys. Rock Nation, I hope you're paying attention. You know, to build up your ammunition here, right? Because you're going to have to defend the same thing. If somebody challenges you on this and they say, well, I thought you were a fiscal conservative. Why are you taking all those taxpayer dollars? If you're against the stimulus relief bill, why are you taking the money? Well, your answer needs to be kind of twofold here. There's one of them, it falls two ways. There are those that need the relief, and then there are those that need the stimulus. And if you look at all of the business that had to operate under reduced capacity or were offset, right, or were shut down, it's our job as the population to receive this stimulus money and then stimulate the economy.
Exactly. What did I tell you I did before? I went to a local business and I did what today?
And he spent money.
What did I do?
Well, you know, I have to be careful for Ryan's sake because there may be an opportunity where he tries to write off some of this money later in the future. But
it's business expenses.
Yeah, he spent COVID cash on his business. That's what he did. He stimulated ptpgun.com.
And stimulated another business too.
Yeah, he did. He went. He was telling me he was a little bit late to recording tonight because he had to stop and get 6 new firearms from Dick's.
I had to get them. I had to get them.
Must. But what he did was he went out and stimulated a mega corporation who pays their employees a minimum wage. So again, Ryan being a hypocrite. But we're all hypocrites. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's difficult to walk the line as close as we do when it comes to our opinions and share our opinions with you. But then we still have to live in the same world as you guys, you know, and what I'm trying to do with my money, because I am going to get some stimulus money back. And what I'm doing is I got a neighbor who owns an HVAC company.
Yeah.
I'm just going to basically take my entire stimulus check and give it to him so that he can redo the air conditioning in my house.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need it. I mean, you're in here. It's warm when it needs to be warm and cold when it needs to be cold. But
it's always
I
cold.
do need to modernize my air conditioning system. So my stimulus money is going there. I'm not what many people do was they will use the money to, I don't know, possibly pay off credit cards if they're into debt, or they'll pay off.
They'll buy a class at ptpgun.com.
They'll do all kinds of stuff. But that's the second part of the money. The second part of the money is for stimulus. There's part of it that's the relief side, and then there's a stimulus side, guys. So I'm encouraging you to take that money and go out and stimulate the economy, right? If you know somebody who was a business owner that was negatively impacted by the COVID lockdowns.
Not Walmart.
Okay. Go out there and support local businesses. In fact, head over to ptpgun.com or head over to rockpodcastnation.com and pledge your support there and encourage us to continue to keep doing what we're doing and support the show, guys. We really do appreciate it. Without you, there is no us. It's Ryan and I speaking into the ether, if you will. But guys, I kind of took what my dad said to heart, right? I was like, yeah, man, I don't want to be a hypocrite. And he kind of caught me off sides, you know. I was like, yeah, you're right, man. I am kind of being a hypocrite.
He calls a spade a spade.
He does. And he is, for those of you know, I'm not going to put my dad's business out here, but every episode, he's sending me feedback. He's saying, oh, you guys really left this out, or you guys left this out, or, you know, this or that. And I'm like, well, you know.
How's his voice sound again?
Well, you guys really left this out, or you left that out. Or, hit him with a little bit of this. Come on, man. But, no, so I went through and I started to look at, okay, have I been impacted because of COVID, right? The only thing I could come up with was my electric bill on average has been about $100 to $120 higher.
Yep, I believe
since my kids have been home, because everyone's always home. We've got, you know, everybody has a laptop. The freaking always leaving the lights on.
The lights.
Turn the lights on.
This is a dad of you to say.
Oh my god! And you know they're like LED 40 watt, you know, equivalent. They spend 30 cents a month to run nonstop, but I just can't get it's in my bones now. Mm-hmm. Once I had my first kid, right, the New Balances came, and then it was like turn off the light.
Got the grass stains on the New Balance and the blue jean shorts.
Yeah, but I haven't got Crocs yet. I haven't gone.
But you had
the
blue jean shorts. That makes up for it. Don't want to admit that.
Yeah. Anyhow, so the only thing that really offset for me was my electric bills went up, but I'm saving money on gas because I'm not driving so much. I don't really need the money, so I'm going to use it for the only way I think I could ethically receive this money, although it is, of course, taxpayer money that I'm, they borrowed it from me or whatever, is to use it for what it's intended for, and that's to stimulate the economy, guys. I'm trying not to be a hypocrite. I really am trying to hold to my values on this. And as a fiscal conservative, it's like I wish more people would have stood up besides the rhinos in the room and said, this bill is too big. There's too much bloat in it, because there really is, man. I mean, if you look about it, you can go on USAID. All right. And on USAID, if you give me 2 seconds, guys, I'll actually have that pulled up. But on USAID.gov or .com or something like that. Let me actually pull that up real quick because I want to get it right. I don't want to mislead anybody. USAID.gov. You can go on there. You can go on the reports and data column. On the reports and data column, you can go into all these other things, and it'll tell you every single foreign country that we send money to. And it really is, we paid, this is going to blow your mind, we paid $124 million to Honduras, okay?
For what?
That's stimulated money that we gave to Honduras. We gave $151 million to Guatemala. We give $1.1 billion to Jordan, $1 billion to Afghanistan, $809 million to Ethiopia, $678 million to Yemen. You tell me where all this money is coming from. We give so much other money, and this is where I'm trying not to be a hypocrite here, Ryan. We give more money to federal aid to other countries where, if you look at the population per dollars that we give them, they're giving more money to their citizens than the United States is giving to its citizens on a kind of per capita basis, right? Now, I was going to run some numbers here, but it looked like my math was a little bit off on Honduras. I don't remember what country it was where I was trying to pull the values from, but it's ridiculous. And again, it's that not being a hypocrite. So how can I take the taxpayers' money and use it to stimulate the economy, but then tell the government that they need to stop giving everybody so much damn money?
How much money do they give back to the American people? Does it say?
I need to pull up the stimulus bill. Can you pull that up real quick? Because there's something else I could hit on here while you're doing that. Another big thing here is this, right? And again, it's the not being a hypocrite. So if we go back to this, we've talked about this twice now, guys. We talked about it in the Tom Brady episode, and we talked about it in the Keystone Pipeline Warren Buffett episode. Ryan's saying is, hate the game, not the player. But then recently we were talking about unemployment, and we were talking about these bums who, instead of going and getting a job, instead of getting off their butt and going and working possibly a minimum wage job to earn money and to quit sucking off the taxpayers' teat, they are choosing to sit around and just collect unemployment the whole time. You following, Ryan?
Yeah.
And it makes we got mad. We're mad at these people. We're mad at these bums for not getting off their butt and going and getting a job. Like, quit taking the taxpayers' money. But Ryan, we're hypocrites. We can't in one episode say, hate the game, not the player, but then in another episode say, get mad at the people living off unemployment, when it's the unemployment system that's broken, not the person that's mooching off of it. It's another one of those things where it's like so hard to not be a hypocrite. We can't be mad at Tom Brady, TB12, for taking money and utilizing the system, right? Because it was the system that enabled him to do that. We can't.
Well, he also, be fair, he paid into the system.
And at some point, somebody on unemployment has paid into the system.
Not every one of them. I mean,
you have to have been employed to then become unemployed. All right. I mean, it's just the nature of things. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You can't hate the player, if you will, that realized that they can sit around on their butt and collect unemployment money. You have to hate the game. You have to hate, or when I say hate, you have to, your aggression, your influence needs to be directed in the right place. Yeah. And that is the unemployment system. Yeah. Right? You have people like the person we talked about recently that is and there are entire cities worth of people that have figured out how to milk the system, how to sit there and just work it and never have to lift a finger, and they make more money, have more disposable income than we do.
I used to work security in a Section 8 neighborhood. I've seen a lot of it. I've seen motherfuckers walk into the property manager's office and complain and bitch to them that their rent, that their part of their rent that they had to pay went up from $23 to $46. I've had to walk these people and escort them out of the property manager's office. They're so mad that they now have to pay $46 for their fucking rent for a month versus just $23. How could this happen? You know, like they're the victim.
Right.
Oh, what do you have like 2 less packs of cigarettes you can't buy now every month? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it's, you know, you got it. Who are you mad at there? You know, again, don't be a hypocrite.
No, yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. We can't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, a majority of my frustration is at the politicians in general and stuff, and so like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but again, it's easy for me to say. It's easy for me to say that, honestly. It's easier for me to say that about Tom Brady because, hey, fuck it, the man paid into it though. So what if he got a little bit back and shit, whatever. But I've seen too many times, like I said, I worked in Section 8 neighborhoods and stuff doing security. I've seen too many times the whole fucking neighborhood, not just like onesies or twosies of people that need a hand up. No, the whole fucking neighborhood. The whole fucking neighborhood. And not just one Section 8 neighborhood, because I worked in a lot of different ones doing security. Every Section 8 neighborhood needs security. Armed security. That's the kind of people that live in these neighborhoods. Fuck it. Call me what you want. Don't call me for fronts. All right? You can call me, you know.
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Don't call me a liar either.
Yeah.
Fuck. But no, dude, it is so frustrating. I'm serious, man. Like, if anyone's ever been to Prince George's County, Maryland and stuff, or even Annapolis, those are the 2 places, the main areas that I worked at.
So as you can tell, Ryan has fallen off the not using the F-bomb in the episodes, but
I'm still trying.
he's
doing
passionate.
better.
He's passionate about what he talks about. And for those of you church-going types, we feel you and we are working on it.
We are a work in progress.
Yeah, we are a work in progress for sure. And, you know, we've talked about, excuse me, that's Ryan and I's own hypocrisy, guys. And I think the picture we're trying to paint here, guys, is that we are not perfect and we're going to get it wrong at times. But again, we still ask you to help support us because, I mean, we're doing the best we can out here. Now, I'd like to pivot a bit, Ryan, and I'd like to talk about, so what did we just do right there, right? We held ourselves accountable.
It's a standard.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand where the line is.
Yeah.
And we're able to admit that we walk that line and sometimes we fall on either side of it. You know what I'm saying? But we're not afraid to admit it. But there are people out there that are hypocrites that won't admit it. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to talk about here is, you know, one of the kind of emerging issues that's going on right now, guys, and I feel like this is going to be an issue for a while, is the narrative at the border. When Donald Trump was president, and build the wall and MAGA and all this MAGA, all this other stuff, right? You had the entire left saying, doing everything they could to kill the funding to build the wall. And to, you know, there was that massive surge of illegal immigrants, the caravans, right? Of people coming up and jumping into these sanctuary states. And it really was ridiculous, but it was Donald Trump's fault. He was being a misogynist, he was being a racist, all this other stuff, right? And then he proceeded to take, you know, children and these other people, and this is the picture that the left was painting, putting them in cages, right? Trapping these children, all this other stuff. He was doing all this shit, and at that point, Trump was the bad man. But today, they're doing the same exact thing, Ryan.
They're just letting the cameras down there.
They're not letting the cameras down there. They're putting more tents down there. They're separating more families down there, right? And now you see all these people lined up at the border. These people migrating up from the Central and Southern America, and I'm not going to call them illegal immigrants yet because they haven't crossed the border. At this point, they're still migrants.
They're tempting though.
They're coming up to the border and they're wearing these shirts that says "Biden, let me in," or "Biden, you're my president," and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, they're what was it Biden said as he was running? He's like, we're going to shut down deportation for 100 days or something like that. Well, that didn't work. And it's like, It's just another sign of hypocrisy, Ryan. What do you think, man?
Dude. Like you said, they're not being as transparent down there either. Like one of the reporters was asking, is it Jen Psaki or Psaki or
Yeah,
Psaki?
the press secretary for the White House.
Yeah, the one people were more or less asking her, saying, the Trump administration, while we may or may not have liked what he was doing, they at least let us do ride-alongs and stuff down there. They let us bring cameras down there and see what's going on. The Biden administration is not doing that. Why aren't they?
Well, not only that, but they're saying
she had to circle back to that one.
They did, and Biden promised transparency, right? Promised transparency, and now at least what's being reported on Fox News, guys. And listen, I'm skeptical of everything I hear on mainstream media, but what I'm hearing, and it's not just on Fox News, it's on Patriot, on Sirius, it's on WMAL, it's on all of your conservative, platforms. What you're hearing from these leaders in DHS and ICE is that they are under gag orders. They are not allowed to talk to the press. They're not allowed to do things like that because they apparently have orders from I'm going to use his name, the big man.
Yeah, the big guy.
The big guy.
Say something for the big guy.
So, yeah, they have orders from the big guy to keep mum's the word, right?
Yep.
Sounds kind of
Cobra.
Sounds kind of hypocritical, right? You can't sit here under one presidency and slam every action that President Trump took at the border to try to stop the surge, right, of illegal immigrants into this country, and then a couple months later try to do the same exact thing, but act like you're not. Yeah. You guys, the Democrats are doing the same thing at the border, and in fact, Donald Trump had the border so squared away that there was machines and equipment in place at the border that he decommissioned because they didn't need it, because they were doing better. Mm-hmm. And now what the left is trying to do, Ryan, they're painting this picture like, whoa, Trump left us unprepared for this surge. It's like, why? Because he decommissioned equipment that he didn't need anymore?
Yeah.
And now you're trying to put the equipment back together because migration is even more? Yeah. Illegal immigrants is even more? It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too, buddy. You can't be a hypocrite.
Yep. And I thought Mikey was, I wasn't sure. I'd never seen the shirts that he was talking about. And I was like, what? That sounds kind of out there. And I looked it up there and I have a picture, and there's many, but I pulled up one particular, and it appears to be a lot of masked Hispanic people. I wouldn't say they're Mexican. I don't know if they're, some of them might be from Honduras on their way up through.
They could also be Syrian. They could also be Lebanese, Indian. They could be Arabic. They could be terrorists.
Could be a lot of things.
They could be COVID carriers.
Yeah.
They could be terrorists, murderers, rapists. They could be a lot of things behind those masks and them shirts, Ryan, but please continue.
But and the shirts say just like what he said. It's got the Biden name, and it's got and how his campaign did and stuff. And it says, Biden, please let us in. And there's just dozens of, in this one picture alone, all you see is just dozens and dozens of people, as far as the eye can see, that are wearing these shirts and that are waiting just to come on in. And some of them, in this picture, they might be waiting, but I bet you most of these people already made it past the border. They're in here, doing their thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that is just another freaking sign of the hypocrisy that we witness from the left, guys. Ryan and I are hypocrites too, all right? But when it comes to being fiscally conservative, you know what I'm saying? We'll take the taxpayers' money and we'll spend it because guess what, guys? We're the taxpayer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Ryan and I bust our ass. Yeah. But I'm not taking that money, putting it underneath my mattress. I'm spending it. I'm stimulating the economy.
My mattress either, so don't be coming to my house knocking on my doors.
But I am not sitting here and slamming the Biden administration for things that the Trump administration did. Yeah. No. Guess what, guys? Biden is my president. He's your president. He is Ryan's president. He is the president of the United States. I'm not going to play that not my president bullshit. But what I am going to do is hold his administration to the same standard that they held the former presidency. Yep. All right? And this is nonsense. And guys, I've mentioned this in previous episode, we're coming up on, he's been in office for months.
2 months now.
Yeah. I mean, he's been here for...
I think we're just short of 2 months.
Well, it depends on when this episode releases, Ryan, but he's definitely been in office for months.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any kind of massive reform at the border. And the border crisis is just continuing to get worse. And his encouragement of central, southern migrants, American migrants to come up and essentially arms wide open. These guys are wearing shirts that says Biden, please let us in. It's like,
all I thought about when you just said that was Creed.
with arms wide open.
What's that guy's name? What was the lead singer's name?
Ah, man, I have no idea. I actually think I have that sound effect in here somewhere.
Woo!
But nah, the hypocrisy just runs so deep. And another thing, and guys, you don't have to try very hard to find the hypocrisy, man. Another one that is so prevalent right now. Ryan, well, first, guys, let me share something about Mike Bell here, all right?
Please share.
Story time with Mike Bell.
Story
Welcome.
time.
The way that I vote, and I have said this in previous episodes, might have been the intro episode. The way that I use my right to vote is as such. I look at the current politician, and this I'm talking at the presidential level, all right? I look at the president that's on the ballot, the people that are on the ballot, and then I look at the Supreme Court. And I say, okay, how many potential Supreme Court judges does this person have the ability to appoint? How many judges can he fill? How many justices are there at, possibly open? And what I try to do is elect the president that is best going to uphold my values as an American and appoint a judge that aligns with those values. Because the presidency is only 4 years, but a justice is for life. All right. So that's how I generally vote. And if you guys will remember, a few years ago, there was a very special case when it came to a Supreme Court nominee. Do you remember Kavanaugh? Mm-hmm. And what happened to him?
They tried canceling him.
Yeah, how'd they do that? Let's hear about it. Tell me everything you know about that.
The most the one thing that stands out the most that I remember. There's a bunch of different shit, but what was her name? They used her and abused her and left her on the side of the road. Was it Christine Blasey Ford? Yeah. Was that her name? Yeah. And even her own family didn't believe her. She said, "Yeah, my friend, she was there." Her friend was like, "No, I wasn't." But what was it? She accused him of 40. It was almost 40 years ago. Something at a house party,
like a frat party in college,
trying to around. Was it Kool-Aid or Jungle Juice?
Essentially, what they were doing was accusing him of sexual assault.
Yeah.
All right, to an extent. And
without any evidence.
At that time, the sexual assault, without any legitimate evidence.
Yeah.
They ran this man through the ringer.
Let's put it this way. What even illegitimate evidence do they even have?
They didn't have any, but they had somebody's word, right? And
one person.
Yeah,
no witnesses, no evidence.
I would have to look into it and figure out if there was any other exculpatory, whatever that, I'm probably messing that word up, exculpatory evidence that was in the case. I would have to look that up. But what I know is this: the Dems used every tool in their arsenal to try to defamate this individual, Judge Kavanaugh. They slandered him. They held him in trial for frickin' ever, right? During the review hearing.
Yep.
Because of an allegation. Yep. All right. Because of a simple allegation. Without any merit. An allegation.
I wonder when they're ever going to do that with Cuomo.
And that's what I was going to say. You see this here. You see this hypocrisy where there's a Republican appointed judge. The entire House of Representatives, the Senate, everybody shuts down to start criticizing this person because of an allegation. Yet there is a standing governor of the United States that has been accused at this time of upwards of 7, I believe, women have came out and directly accused him of sexual assault.
I think today the 8th one came out.
Yeah, and I don't remember what day it is.
And by the way, these people that are coming out against him, they aren't political opponents. These are people that worked for him. Blasey Ford was a political opponent of Brett Kavanaugh. That was it, and nobody denies that. These 7 or 8 people that are accusing Cuomo of the same, or similar things in general, they're all relatively recent, and they're all family members or coworkers or people that worked underneath him. This is why. What reason would they have to come out against him? All 8 of them to come out and lie against him.
So again, it's the hypocrisy. Now check this shit out. All right. So one of the biggest pundits that was against Kavanaugh was hers truly, Nancy Pelosi. All right. And she was recently, this was last year, during the ramp up of Biden's political maneuvering to become president of the United States. Nancy Pelosi was questioned about the allegations against, at the time, it was Joe Biden, right? Vice President Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden, now President Joe Biden, and wanted to do was compare the treatment of sexual assault allegations against former Vice President Joe Biden and Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. All right. Now, Washington Examiner reporter slammed Pelosi at a press conference how Democrats square with the idea that they're essentially standing by Biden, but used a comparatively different standard with Justice Kavanaugh when they demanded an investigation against Kavanaugh when a similar allegation came out against him. You know what Nancy Pelosi said? I respect your question, and I don't need a lecture or a speech.
That's all she said.
That's all she said. She went on to say that she's got 4 daughters and a son, and she respects the entire Me Too movement, and there's a lot of excitement around the idea that women will be heard and listened to. So why didn't they listen to the lady that accused Joe Biden, or the several that have came out?
There was 3 with Biden, wasn't there?
At least 3. And if you look at the shit, guys, you've all seen the shit, the sniffy, right? The freaking creepy Joe. I mean, that name exists for a reason, but they won't investigate him. Hypocrisy. Cuomo, hypocrisy. Look at Governor Newsom right now. Hypocrisy. I'm not talking about sexual assault. I'm talking about going out to eat, an $800 steak at a French restaurant.
Which Democrat was this?
Governor Newsom from California.
I get them all mixed up. They're always doing that shit.
Yeah, the hypocrisy is ridiculous. What about Pelosi going and getting her hair cut? Remember when she got her hair did and then tried to blame the freaking beauty shop for setting her up?
Yep.
You remember that shit?
Well, there's a Democrat out in California. I want to say, I might be getting this a little wrong, but I want to say it was L.A. and it was a councilwoman, and she had been debating and saying that it was unsafe to even eat outdoors at a restaurant. And she voted favorably for a bill that would ban outdoor dining even. And what did she do? Because the bill didn't go into effect to the following day. Guess what she did? After that hearing cleared up, she went to her favorite restaurant and ate outdoors. The very thing she said it was unsafe to do, and she has passed a bill to close down restaurants, she went out and did it the very next hour.
The hypocrisy is so crazy.
Hypocrisy.
I mean, we've all seen Anthony Cuomo at the Nationals game with his mask off.
Yep.
Oh, right, yeah. We saw that. I think it was John Kerry today.
On the plane ride.
And guys, again, this episode, if you're hearing it now, it's probably recorded a week or so ago. We're trying to get set up because Ryan and I have got some vacation coming up pretty soon. But John Kerry's on the airplane with his mask off.
Yep.
And United actually released that. They broke their own story saying our policy is you have to have a mask when you're on the aircraft, and then there's John Kerry not wearing one.
Yeah.
And the hypocrisy.
Who released that photo exactly? Do you know?
Thought it was United, wasn't it?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know either, man, but it's everywhere.
I was honestly surprised. I was like, is that really him? Because he's sitting in a flight with other adults and stuff. Because I know he's got some private planes. That guy is fucking rich. He married the Heinz Ketchup daughter. He's got some money now.
Speaking of that, and I actually kind of want to save this for another episode, Ryan, but if you haven't looked into Mitch McConnell's wife and see, there's some threads there that if you pull on them, you'll be very surprised.
What's his name? Cocaine Mitch?
Well,
you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff about Mitch McConnell, but if anyone is wondering why Mitch McConnell so quickly turned against President Trump after the election, stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, because we've got some.
We should start a post discussion on this on Facebook and get the discussion going in preparation for that episode. Yeah, guys. If you haven't already gone over to Facebook, the Right of Center podcast, ROC, or whatever it is, the links will be down in the show notes. But if you haven't already gone over there and subscribed to that page, and turned on notifications, and then shared that with your friends, and invited all your friends to come like that page, please do so now.
All you got to do is just in your little search bar, type in at Rock Podcast Nation. It'll take you right to the page. You can do that on Facebook and Instagram. And also go to our website, rockpodcastnation.com. There you could read our blogs. You could listen to all of our podcast episodes, which you may be listening to it there now. And then you could also pledge your support to help us keep this mission growing. And if you decide to be a founding member, we don't push this a whole lot, guys. We want our founding members to choose to subscribe to us. I'm not pandering to you. You know what you get when you sign up to be a founding member of this podcast. We do. We appreciate the hell out of it. But if you want to know more about that, head over to the website, rockpodcastnation.com. Go to pledge your support. Everything you need to know is there.
For our founding members, the cool ass challenge coins. When's the estimated delivery on those?
We should be receiving them the first week of April, and then Ryan has to fill out a lot of envelopes because those things are going to be shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first, second week of April, you should be receiving it for sure.
Nice. I'm
yeah,
excited.
man, those are coming. And then if you stick with us, it'll be a few short months later. You get the hoodie, custom Rock Podcast Nation hoodie, the autographed hat. It really is a big thing. Plus, you get unlimited access to all of our premium content. Under the current Facebook censorship, it's a little bit. We need to be very strategic about how we set up the Facebook group for our Rock exclusive members. But just know that is coming. Ryan is still deciding whether or not to invest all of his efforts on MeWe or Parler or both for that private Facebook group for our members. But that is coming as well, guys, and we appreciate your patience as we do stand this up. But let's get back here, guys. The hypocrisy. If you could look yourself in the mirror and begin to admit that you are, to some extent, a hypocrite, you are better than every Democrat in the Senate and the House right now. Yep. Because they refuse to admit it. They shit in one hand, wish in the other, right? And then wonder which one's going to fill up first. And they keep shitting in their own daggum backyard, man. And eventually it's going to come around and bite them, man. Yeah. It will come back. But the only way that's going to happen is if we start to have town square type conversations with people from the other side. And we are right of center, but we encourage you to let your friends, doesn't matter where they're at, know that you're listening to Rock. Send them over here because they might be able to change our mind. I'm left on some topics. I'm right on others, but I am open-minded. As Ryan always says, if you come prepared with the right ammunition, he's willing to listen to anybody. And I'm the same way, guys. So do your part, guys. Reach out there. Do us a favor. Help us help you. Help us grow this nation. Help us get there. We're already looking at, lining up. Me personally will be doing some call-ins with Sean Hannity on Patriot Radio on Sirius. So if you listen to Hannity, you'll hear me over there. Working on things with Dan Bongino. Things are growing. You want to be a part of that? You just stay with us, all right? Because we are getting there. This is the fastest growing conservative podcast in the country. Yeah. And that is due to you. It is due to you helping us grow this beast.
Thank you all and all of our followers and our family members.
That's right, guys. Don't be a hypocrite. And that's it for me.
Yeah. Stay strapped and get clapped.